Welcome to Ascension with V, where we talk about spiritual awakening, ascension, and everything in between. I'm your host, Stashia Jeanette, aka V, and today we have a special guest who's about to take us on a journey with their unique gifts and experiences. Ines, introduce yourself and tell us about what you do and all the things. And also, we want to put the disclaimer out there that there may be a lag between us speaking. So if you catch us speaking over one another or stopping and starting, I guess that's just deal with that happening.
Deal with that.
Deal with that.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Stasha. Thank you so much for having me again.
Hey,
This is
yes.
this is not our first time together.
No.
No, I'm so happy to be here with you again. My name is Ines. I am a multidimensional healer, an oracle, and a subtle energies specialist. What I do is simply accessing the other dimensions to guide my people through healing, expansion, and growth. Deprogramming limiting beliefs, reprogramming deep trauma, and releasing everything that is keeping them stuck in a, let's say, low frequency life, if we want to talk like that.
Yes. So when we talk about healing trauma and doing deprogramming, like what does that look like for a lot of people?
What I notice is that there are all these things that happen to us through our lifetimes, and they get stuck. They get stuck in our system. And I talk about this lifetime, the current one, the 3D where we are living right now, but I'm talking also about the past lifetimes, which I'm going to refer to with this term, past lifetime, because timing is not linear, and
Right.
I like to call them parallel lifetimes, but for an easy understanding, let's call them past lifetimes. So they get stuck in our systems. They get stuck in our bodies, they get stuck in our field, and in our structure, really. So releasing this deep-seated trauma and limiting beliefs means really, per my technique and my perspective, really accessing our blueprint, accessing our original matrix and taking it out, canceling it, really deleting it from our system and reactivating a new flow of energy. So basically, we are like computers, you know.
Exactly.
We take there is a faulty program, let's say brackets faulty, that makes the computer doesn't work, I mean stuck in some ways, and we go and we take off the program that is not working, and we give space for the program that is working to appear and to start working in our system. I hope it's clear. But yeah, that's essentially it. It's nothing complicated. It's nothing, complicated. It's really, really easy.
How did you I think I touched on this the first time that you were on the podcast, but how did you essentially know like, oh, this is a thing that I can do? Like would it start with you first? Like cuz me personally, like I had to do the work on myself first to, like essentially like try to heal myself first to realize like, oh, these are things that I can do. So I'm wondering if in comparison this was something that you had to go through as well, or how did that come about for you?
Yeah, exactly. I had to go through this as well. It was a long journey of really discovering who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about only the Ines, the human, but I'm talking about also the divine being, no,
Yes.
that
Yes.
we are, and with the skills and the powers, and the magic that we are. So it was a very long process of like the human healing and expanding and processing trauma. I had a lot to process. So a very long journey of healing, which I'm still going through, and it's not complete. Like we go through it.
Yes.
Through.
Yes. Yes. Same.
And on the other side, it was like just this opening, this constant opening to my gifts. So when
Mm-hmm.
people ask me what techniques do you use, I never answer. I don't have a technique that I use. I never,
Right.
you know,
Yes.
I didn't go to school or I didn't do a course to learn a technique.
Exactly.
I just found out
Yes.
how I work.
Yes. Yes. Oh, like, yes. This. Yes. Yes.
So
Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry. I got excited. I was like, oh my God, yes.
yes, absolutely. And this is like, it's like you find out what is your magic, you know, and you find out how you function, and you manage to also put it at service for
Yeah.
other people, because at some point the calling arise, you know, this nudge that's telling you this is not for you only, this is also for other people. And you know, even if you resist it, because I have resisted it at the beginning of my journey,
Yeah. Yeah.
at the end you have to surrender, and you have to, you know, make peace with the fact that this is not for you only, but it's for a lot of many other people. Because I mean, who are you if you have a technology to help other people? Why are you keeping it to yourself at the end?
Right. Right. Do you feel like a lot of us who have gifts, I mean, again, I can only always speak from just like my personal experiences, but I'm wondering if also this applies to you, and if you feel like this applies to other people, if the reason why we resist initially doing or expressing our gifts or embracing who and what we truly are at that multidimensional higher self divine being level, and then outwardly putting it out to the people, telling people about it or helping people about it, do you feel like that plays in from a part of this past life trauma that wants to keep us from expressing or sharing our gifts, or no?
I feel so. I feel it's a mix, actually. It's a mix of this lifetime and past lifetimes. I mean, there is so many elements. There is like the past life element. I mean, all of us, we have been through many lifetimes on this earth,
Right.
and many of us have been witches, ethics, people who were killed because they were speaking out, healers of different sort that have been through some sort of persecution.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I feel this really plays a role in our lifetime here, in our current life. Plus, the current institutions, education system, and it's not easy to tell people, hey, I can access other dimensions. Hey,
Right.
you know, like I see things that normally people don't see,
Right. Exactly.
without feeling like, okay, these people are going to think I'm crazy, or, you know, they're going to think I'm, a con artist. That's the term,
Yeah.
right?
Or some like evil, like some evil thing, you know.
Some evil thing. Yeah, this didn't happen to me, but I hear that it happened. So yeah, that it's a mix. Everything. It's always a very complex yet easy system.
Right.
So it's a mix of the two things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you feel like is the way that people are able to kind of get through this? Do you think it's just one of the things that kind of what we're doing currently is just push through it and work through it and take one step at a time of trying to confront and face these fears and traumas and being like, no, it's okay, we're going to do this and push through, or is there, so far, have you found any methods that work better than others for handling this?
Well, I think depends on the person. We are all different. So yeah, we have a very different way to facing things. You know, there are people that start speaking right away on social media. I think it's also about
Mm,
generational attitude toward reality. Like my generation, we are not used to social media,
right.
you know, so it took me some time even to speak up and record videos
Yeah.
and show up to a wider audience, you know. And so there was like the step where I had to, you know, face it with my own people, my reality, my family, and my best friends, my circle of friends. Then there was the step of putting it out to a larger audience. And so there are other people that are really fast, you know, and they talk in camera and they are start telling others, hey, I do this, I do that. I think it's different from person to person, and I think also the approach is different. Like sometimes it's good to take it slowly and go step by step and don't force too much, because there is like a lot of fear a lot of trauma that needs to be worked through. Some other times it's good to push a little bit. If you wait, you know how they say, if you wait to be ready, you will never be ready.
Right. And I had to mention the horn that I heard in the background. As you said, sometimes it's good to push a little bit. And it's like beep, right? Like just so you know, it's like you gotta, it's because that was me. That's me being like, I don't know, like I'll just, like let me just take it carefully. And literally as soon as you said that, they gave the little confirmation beep. That's funny. I had to point that out. That was top tier.
The famous
But yeah.
Egyptians.
Yes. Okay, sorry. Go ahead with what you were saying before I got excited.
I think I said it.
Okay.
Depends really on what we're working through. Sometimes it's good
Yeah.
to a little bit. Sometimes it's good to take it step by step, because I mean, even only remembering that you have been burned at the stake, it's not something that
Man.
need to be taken lightly. Just a little bit of time to process, integrate, and understand what is happening in your consciousness, in your reality, like you need some time. And then you're ready to open up, and you're ready to speak up, you're ready to show up and to work through things. Depends, at the beginning maybe of your journey, it's better to take it slowly, and then the more you are, you practice it, and the more you can go a bit faster, I don't know, and push a little bit more. I mean, depends.
Right.
Yeah, it depends on the person, really.
Okay, so we had touched a little bit on the balancing of the masculine and feminine, and I want to dive in on this because this is also something that I've mentioned on a solo podcast that I did. Hasn't been out yet, but this this is a huge deal. This is something that really I think is more so happening and taking place currently right now more than it ever has before. I would love to know your perspective and thoughts on this process and how we can assist with it, how we can integrate with it, how we can embrace it.
So, where do I start? I feel that the whole world is going through a lot and is facing many different kind of darkness,
Hmm.
many different kind of wounds, and the level of evolution, it's different person to person, from person to person is very different. So each of us are going through what it's needed to then access another frequency, a higher vibrational frequency, let's say. So we are all putting our effort in this, whether we know it or not. And I feel that in this moment particularly, I really resonate with this balance of the masculine and feminine, because it's happening in my body, in my consciousness,
Exactly.
in my reality, and the people I talk with, you included, resonate with that. So, and what I'm doing on a daily basis, basically, it's really working on that. So, this rebalancing of masculine and feminine, for how I see it, especially because I live in a Muslim country, I live in a country that is few thousands kilometers far from a war. So I live in a place that is quite complicated and complex from a patriarchal point of view and from the abuse of a patriarchy point of view. So I feel that really this is like so close to me and so close to my reality and my heart.
Right.
Um, and just disclaimer, I didn't say Muslim country because I think that all Muslims are
Right. Yeah.
like bad with me, when no, of course not.
No.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm
Right.
saying that it's a country where the rights of women and the body of women it's like very complex. It's a very complex conversation, let's
It
say.
is. No, it is. Yeah. This is the reality of it. That's the reality of it, really.
Yeah, yeah. So what is happening is that this whole system that is unbalanced, that has been unbalanced for many, many hundreds, thousands of years, it's now rebalancing. So this feminine that has been oppressed and has been abused, let's say, it's reawakening. So no, this
Yeah.
is something that is said many times, a lot in the spiritual community, this reawakening
Yeah.
of the feminine. So all these wounds of the feminine, but also of the masculine, because the patriarchal system hurt not only the feminine, but also the masculine. So all these wounds are coming out to be healed. So let's say war and abuse, it's a very, very deep imbalance of the masculine and feminine, no? And of a patriarchal system. And this is being cleansed. This is being brought in our attention, under our eyes, strongly, very strongly.
Yes.
Like in a very intense way. It's like very intense collective.
Yeah.
So it's being rebalanced through the work that we are doing, through the work that people like us are doing.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a game of like projections and perspective, because it's happening in our own personal lives.
Yes.
Right? Because we are working through our own traumas of abuse from masculine, of wounds from feminine. And at the same time, we're working on the collective energy, working through our own wounds. Every time you change your frequency, as we know, every time you change your frequency, you change the frequency of the reality around you.
Correct.
So it's a very strong theme, and I feel like it's just pouring out. Excuse me. It's pouring out, and like so strong.
Yeah.
And if I may tell what happened on last Saturday in the temple I went.
All of it. Yes. I'm like, I've been waiting for this. I'm like, tell me the story.
It was really, really intense. So I live in Egypt, for our audience that maybe they don't know. And most of the work I do is with the ancient Egyptian spirituality energy. So I work with what are called netters, the forces of nature, which are like in our society are called gods and goddesses, but the real name is NTR, netters. So which is actually the original root of the word nature. So these netters, like Isis, Horus, all these very famous Sekhmet, they are forces of nature, expression of nature. And the ancient Egyptian managed to build a two-way communication between their human selves and these forces of nature. And the ancient Egyptian temples are perfect structures that managed to build an energetic container that allowed them to harness the energy of the earth and the energy of the skies to, like, with the aim of healing, connection with other dimensions, and wisdom.
Yes.
So a lot of these temples are really active, still active, and still very famous, like the pyramids or Luxor, Karnak, all the Upper Egypt stuff through the Nile, along the Nile, the mainstream temples, let's say. Some of those temples are not active anymore, are sleeping, because they have been, for many reasons, they have been destroyed with time. I mean, they are thousands years old, and also the with its movement. So the power spot of the earth, because these temples are built on power spots, and so the earth moving, so that the balance of the earth moving moves a little bit the power spot. So the temple is not anymore perfectly aligned with the stars and with the earth. And also, the city that are built around them, these temples some of them are dormant.
Exactly.
So what I found out what I've been doing for the last 2 years, 2 years, 1 year and a half, is going and being called, going into these dormant temples, not only in Egypt, also in Italy, and reactivating them.
Yeah.
So what happened Saturday is that I was invited by a friend, a male friend, and this is important for the story, to go to this Bastet temple, which is in a 1 hour and a half far from Cairo, in a city called Zagazig. And it's one of the most underrated temples, because nobody goes there. We were the only ones, because everybody goes to the pyramid, Saqqara, and very temples. And this is Bastet. I have an altar to Bastet in my room. I love Bastet, the goddess, let's say, the netter, the cat, the one who
the cat, right?
So this friend of mine invites me, and he's like, let's go and explore this temple. I have never been there, and I wanted to go. So I'm like, yes, of course. And it was the day of the alignment. It was the 25th.
Snap.
Yeah. I realized it after. So
afterwards.
Yeah, afterwards. So we go to this temple, and actually is a bunch of stones, really. Like, it's like, they call it open air museum, but what it is just like a few meter squares of stones. Like, it's just a destroyed temple. And the Herodoto used to say, which is a Greek philosopher, used to say that it was one of the most beautiful temples in Egypt at that time. So it's even more beautiful than Luxor or Karnak, which are like the most famous. So, but now it's just stones on the ground with a lot of actually rubbish around and like abandoned there. And this huge, very huge, like dozens of meters tall statue of Meritamun, who was the daughter of Nefertiti,
Okay.
which is, she's famous. This huge statue is so beautiful in pink granite that is standing there. And at the beginning, you look at it and you're like, okay, so yeah, statue, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I do like 3-4 steps and I start feeling my womb activating. Yeah. So I was like, okay, there is something to do
Yeah.
here.
Oh. Yeah.
So I go to this, there was a little hill. I sit there and I start, working energetically. So I called my friend with me, and he has never done anything like that before. He sits beside me, and we take the position of the Egyptian status, which is like with our hand on our thighs. And I started working energetically and understood what I had to do, which was to open a portal from that area to the center of the earth, to ground really the energy. And especially because this temple is really curious, because it's surrounded by buildings. So it's literally in the middle of, there is a highway just beside. Yeah, it's like, it's such a weird situation.
Right.
Yeah, it's very weird. And this huge ancient Egyptian statue and all buildings around is like, so I opened this portal and really let the energy of the earth cleanse the land around the temple,
Yeah.
reactivating the power point. And it was such a big cleansing of the land, so strong. And Sekhmet, the Neter Sekhmet, the lion
Yeah.
goddess,
Yeah.
which I work with a lot, arrived, because they are not single gods and goddesses. Like, Bastet is let's say an emanation of Sekhmet. Like, it's
Okay.
just the same energy, but in a different frequency form. Yes. So Sekhmet helped me and cleansed all the area around it, around the land. And then when it was cleansed, finally Bastet could come and start dancing and start, bringing the feminine energy. So
Yeah.
that's, and this guy around me, this young man around me that did nothing like that before, I just told him two things: center yourself, ground yourself, put your attention on your root chakra, open the inner channel. I just touched him here so he could also see what was happening. And it was so, like, he did such a good job in really centering himself. He was amazing, like, so young, 24 years old. Like, it was amazing.
Do you think they were helping him?
I think so,
Yeah.
probably. But
Yeah.
his will to be there, and
Yes.
his inner gifts that were activating, because he didn't even know he could do that.
Right.
So everything awakened in him in that moment. A lot of things awakened in him in that moment. And I felt that once his energy could really hold the space for the feminine to clean and express herself, the land started cleaning.
Mm.
I noticed this interaction. I felt this masculine and feminine, one beside the other one, working to clean the land, to reactivate the power spot. Once he was able to step in his power, also the feminine was able to feel safe,
Yeah.
to have the space for self-expression, for,
Exactly.
the famous energy that goes up of the feminine. And I felt my womb relaxing, because I was also going through something. I was
Right.
also feeling a bit contracted, because there was a lot of police around and I didn't like it. There was traffic around, and there was a shooting place right beside us. People
Oh,
were.
wow.
Yeah, it was such a strange situation. I was feeling tense and contracted.
Tense.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, like, I feel, surrounded.
Yes.
It was not a moment of, very feminine.
Yeah, like just relax and be in your element. Right.
Not at all, not at all. I was very disturbed. But once
Right.
this balance was activated and he was like really holding space for me and for the land, I felt like, okay, now I can work.
Yeah.
And then I felt this huge cleansing that was like very big radius taking place, and the energy cleansed and the frequency changed completely. And at that point, the statue of Merita Moon activated and basically started to be an antenna for high frequency
Oh,
light coming from above through her, spreading on all the city, spreading in the land. And I still feel my womb activating again while I'm telling the story.
like you tell about it. What did it feel like when you could feel the land clearing or the energy and frequency clearing? Like what was that like?
It's like when you are cleaning dust.
Hmm. Hmm.
There was a lot of dust, a lot of like heaviness.
Heaviness. Okay.
Yeah, I got cleansed, and you could feel really
Light.
light coming in, and it was like a completely different frequency. You felt lighter immediately.
Okay. Okay.
I'm releasing now while I'm saying this. So, and I asked, and then I proceeded. I went to another point of the temple to do the same thing. So it was like a whole very, very intense process, and this like antenna, so big, so beautiful. It was like basically a divine feminine antenna.
What?
It was
From
just
that from
amazing, amazing, amazing.
what was he saying?
It was just saying nothing. Actually, it was just transmitting divine feminine.
Did
Transmitting.
he did what did the guy that was with you? I mean, like
Yes.
how did he yeah.
I asked him, of course, what he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
feeling, and he said at the beginning he was like, "I feel nothing." I'm like, "No, not true. You're not.
No. Yeah,
No,
no.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
Focus on your body."
Yeah.
Because this is what we need to do in these cases. We need to first start from our bodies. We don't need to go and look for visions, or
Ex-
for big things happening. No,
yeah.
we need to start from our bodies, because this is our antenna. Now, this is how we process things. So I'm like, tell me what is happening in your body. And then he started understanding, yeah, no, actually, I feel the difference from when we arrived. I feel lighter. And he said, I was having neck pain. Now this disappeared. And he's like, and he was like, and I think I saw blue light coming up from the sky to the statue. But it was like 1 second. And I'm like, yes, perfect. So you see, you feel and you see.
Right.
And it was amazing to see him really awakening to his sensitivity, to his feminine,
Right. Yes, that.
because that's the door for emotions, that's the door for,
Spirituality.
yes, and sensitivity,
Yeah.
that is often cut it out from our consciousness.
Yeah.
So
So
it
you
was
said
so beautiful. And yeah, no, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, so you said that you had to go from like point to point from the temple. How big was the temple, like in radius wise? Was it like a large area?
Oh no, not too large. I have to
Okay, okay.
be honest, I'm really bad with numbers and meters and number of people.
Same. No, same. Same. But so in time, how long did you have to spend out there?
I think an hour, not.
Oh, okay.
And the whole process was like 2 3 hours, because then we sat and we talked, and then the energy was flowing, and then the energy needs to ground properly, so you just stay there. It's a whole journey and hanging out. Basically, you hang out with the energies.
Yeah, yeah. It's an energy party. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an energy party. I love this. Yeah, yeah, it's an energy.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
started looking through the stones, because these stones are like huge and big, and with all these carvings, these hieroglyphs carved, and they are just on the floor. You can literally sit on them. It's incredible.
What?
It's crazy. I don't know why people don't go and visit this temple, because I think also ancient Egypt has become mainstream. Everybody, go there and they want to do their stuff, but there is way more than the mainstream temples.
Right. Right. Like it's not I saw a video one time of like people doing the excursions by the pyramids or whatever. and everybody was, apparently they weren't supposed to have the camels, like apparently it's like too close to where the pyramids or something were, and then people were all over on the area where they weren't supposed to be, and it was just like a lot going on, and some of the people, like some of the locals that were there, were like, this is so disrespectful, and I felt that.
Yeah, it's a bit messy actually, the situation here. Yeah, it's becoming, yeah, messy. So it's illegal to meditate into temples here. I don't know if you know.
What?
Yeah, they stop you. The police come and literally kick you out or stop you unless you pay them.
Are you kidding me? Like, I'm like, the behoovement that I've just witnessed. Are you kidding me? So you have to pay them to be like,
No, in this temple, no. I was very lucky because nobody was there. It's not touristic. Nobody goes.
okay, okay.
It's just a little museum, and there was some Egyptians, some nationals there, and then no foreigners. I think the police also got a little bit surprised because I don't think they see many foreigners going in that temple, and so we were just, it was an energetic playground. We could do whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
So magical, because normally if you go to the pyramids or if you go to Karnak, Luxor, you cannot sit and meditate.
That's insane.
It's insane, yeah. The only thing you can do is find, because there is two different kind of guards there. There is the police and there is the local guardians. So you need to hide and pay a little bit tip to the guardians, to the local guardians, and they hide you in a corner and they let you meditate. It's a whole business now.
Yeah, it like so it's a whole racket that they got going on there. Like I did that's do you see how you take a holy place and
Hmm.
then you just make it like this corrupt racket. The infuriation that I feel.
Yeah, it's so controlled by the police. It's like it's a bit wicked. It's very strange.
It is.
And then you see all these people that come here and they think they are going to meditate in the pyramids, and they get kicked out or yelled at, and then the energy sometimes is really heavy. It's not easy to work in these sites, not at all.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel it. Like I said, as you're speaking about it, that's my thing. I'm a very good energy reader, and it does like it's infuriating. I don't even know if this is my infuriation or if this is some of the gods and goddesses like infuriation, but like it's
Yeah,
irksome.
it's bad. It's bad. And
Ugh.
yeah, and I will tell you more. If you want
Yeah.
to have private access to some of the most important rooms beneath the temples, you need to pay. You can have like 1 hour, 2 hours private access with your groups and go there and do energy work. If you pay around, I don't know how much it is now, but it's around $2,000 or something.
What kind of wow, that's some shit. Wow, that's some shit.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my god.
and then these guards, like some of them are like guards from the locals, and they found out that they can make money. So if they see someone who is a little bit different, they start pushing you, meditation, meditation. They tell you meditate, and then they ask for money and they put you in a corner and they hide you. But yeah, and some of them are genuine. Some of them you can see them like from the eyes. The eyes are so pure and deep, and they have this energy that they grow up in the temples. Like they're like
Right.
literally since they're kids, they are playing there. So the energy is very much in them, and you recognize each other. And so they just
Exactly.
you stay and they protect you and they do it in a very nice way. And then if you want, you leave them the tip because they did work.
Exactly.
Some others no, they just like it's just money.
They're just like vultures with it.
Yeah, it's not very nice. But also a
Is
lot
it
of
that way?
yeah, tell me.
Is it that way with the Luxor and the what was the other one that you said as well?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Abydos, Dendera, actually. Yeah, all of them. All of them. Yeah.
So you guys were able to go to this one because it was because it was essentially like an abandoned one that you and then you said it was like by a highway or something. So it's all like I feel like that's
Yeah, it was literally by a highway, like a big roads, with big, I have pictures. I will post them soon. I want to write about all of this. I will post them. You will see, like it's
Yes.
literally it's in the middle of buildings and with a highway beside it, and this huge
Snap.
statue in the middle of, like, it's crazy. It's so beautiful.
But I love it for you because you guys got to go and do your thing, do what you were called there to do peacefully and have fun.
I love.
Yeah. And that's the part that's the important part of it. But you yeah, that's wild. I hate that over the how it's become a mainstream thing, but I love that you were able there's still some places that you can find that are pure still, with that. And I think that's the best part about it. But I would love for you to tell me more about these portals. Like, are there other portals that you have found or have been called to that you essentially have to do the same thing in, or no?
Yeah, yeah. So I don't find this portal. I am basically dragged there because
Yeah,
I have this weird relationship with my guides. Like, I don't listen to them, so
yeah,
they send my phone to tell me, "Hey, you have to do this. You have to go
yeah,
there." And I'm
yeah,
like, what? And
yeah.
so as this happened last summer on the 8/8, by the way, on the Lion.
Snap.
Yeah, my friend told me, Ines, your guide wants you to go here and do that. And I'm like, what? How? I mean,
What do you mean?
yeah, what do you mean? But then I do it because I trust the voices. And then this time my friend, he was like, hey, let's go here. And I'm like, okay, I feel I have to go. Okay, let's go.
Yes,
I wouldn't have never thought about going myself because I really don't listen. And I think they know, and I send people to, like, Ines, you have to go.
we're going.
You're
Yeah.
going.
I feel like that's also how I am or how things happen with me. Like I do a lot of the grid work type stuff, and it's always where my sister will be the one that's like, we have to travel to this place, or we're going to take a cruise to go to this place, and we have to do these excursions at this specific spot. And I'm like, I'm good. And she's like, we're going. Okay, but it's that's it, because again, like, I'm a hermit, so I'm like, I'm good here. I'll be just to myself meditating, you know.
No,
No, yeah, I'm like, okay. So that's what I was gonna ask. Where were you at when you posted that picture? And I was like, your Egyptian goddess energy is coming out potently. Where was that at? Because it was like a super awesome.
that was Hatshepsut Temple in Luxor. It's my favorite temple ever. I mean, now that I found Busted, but it's one of my favorite. It's the Queen Hatshepsut is like one of the first feminists
Okay, okay.
because pharaohs needed to be men, and right. So she was the mother. Sorry, the mother of Ramses something.
Okay.
I'm sorry. The names, really, there are so many.
There's so
And
many. Yeah.
so her husband died, and her son was too young to be pharaoh. So she took the throne for the time that she was actually instructing and, training this kid to be a pharaoh. And she was the first woman to be a pharaoh.
Mm,
And she had to face a lot of,
adversity.
yeah, adversity. And they say her kingdom was not successful because what she did was not doing war or going to invade, but she was building culture, diplomatic exchanges. She's the one who brought incense in Egypt. She brought many different kind of animals and trees here, and everything is written in the walls with hieroglyphics in the walls of a temple. And at some point, as she was receiving so much um, contrast, let's say, people in the court didn't want a woman. They were like, no, we want a man. And she's like, he's not my son is not ready yet. She started depicting herself as a man. So if you see her, like her statues and pictures, I mean, hieroglyphs of her, you will see that she has a different kind of skin color. While because men were represented with orange skin color because they are staying in the sun, while women were represented with yellow skin color because they stay at home.
Mm-hmm.
She was depicted as a pharaoh in a man, like with man clothes, the beard that is a representation of power, and like a man, a full-on man, but you can recognize her because the skin is yellow. And so,
Yeah.
and she also started being represented without her breasts
Okay.
to, you know, to see, to really give the idea of power and to keep the throne, to keep the kingdom together. But she did so much culturally and from a diplomatic point of view. No wars. That's what.
Yeah, you see how that, I'm like, you see how that happens under the anyways. Yeah, I'm like,
And someone told me, no, it was not successful because she didn't do many wars. And I'm like, well, I mean, that's not how you measure success, but
right. Literally, that is literally, that is the same way when people are like, well, what you do isn't really successful if you're not making a ton of money and you're not doing this, that. And I'm like,
mm,
is that how we're, is
measuring.
that how we're, right. Right. Is that what it is? Is that what it's about? Like, mm, hmm.
So yeah, well, I mean, money is something else. It's a completely another thing. But I understand what you mean. Like
Yeah,
the kind of capitalistic view that was already present actually.
exactly.
So yeah, that's the temple. That's one of my favorites because I feel, I mean, we can be honest here, she was my aunt, and the first
Yeah.
time I went into that temple I saw myself as a kid playing around barefoot and in those walls, and every time I go there I feel she's telling me welcome back home, and she opens doors for me that normally they are not open for the normal tourists, and I love of that temple. And there is the Hatshepsut temple, and then there is Hathor temple,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
picture you saw, and on the other side Anubis temple, which is very rare. So yeah,
It's it, which is what? I'm sorry.
Anubis is very rare to find a temple dedicated to that Anubis. Yeah, because that's what they were doing, right? They were connecting them with themselves, with the divinity. So they were showing the world that they were divinely protected and divinely authorized, let's say, to be
Right.
rulers. Yeah. So that's the temple.
Did you feel the same type of energy at that temple or at other temples? Are they the same type of feeling that you feel when you go to? Okay. Okay.
They're never the same type of feeling. They all have very different frequencies. All of them, all of the temples are made for a different purpose. So the
Okay.
frequency that they hold is completely different from one to another. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to talk about how you came about doing this multidimensional healer course and for healers.
Yeah.
Why did we get to this? How did we get to this point, and what is it about, and all that?
Yes, thank you. So I came up with this idea last month. It's a very recent project because I had an infamous exchange on a social media again with someone who was claiming that being a healer means that you go to a cafe and then you absorb the energy of others.
I saw this. Yes, I saw this, and I was like, what the hell's going on here? Yeah, it
But you try to, so being a healer means that you go in a cafe, you absorb the energy of others, and then you spend the next hour crying in the car.
crying in your car. Yeah, like no.
Shocked. I'm like, no, no. And I don't comment. I don't put myself a lot in this,
Yes,
community because I think it's a waste of energy. But in that moment,
exactly.
that really
I
triggered.
felt it. You were fired up. I could feel it.
But yes, because I mean, no, this is a narrative that cannot go around.
Yes. Yes. Like this is false. That's false. That's not it. I'm so sick of the false ones getting so much publicity. I'm sick of it.
Yes, it's not only false, but it's dangerous as well.
Yeah. You got people thinking, go ahead. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this enables people to think, like they make them think that if you're like that, you're a healer, first of all, and second, that is okay to do, that is okay, you know,
Right.
that you go to a cafe and you absorb other people's energies and then you spend the next hour crying. It's fine because you're a healer. No, oh my God, this is so dangerous.
It's bad. It's so bad. And I feel like for me to that whole thing to me sound like I'm like that's an entire that sounds like an enemy agenda if I've ever heard one in my entire life. Like that's let's let everybody who has this gift be able to just take on other make them think that they're supposed to take on everybody else's stuff and then let it be detrimentally dangerous and harmful to them later on. So it just breaks them down and wears them out. Like,
Yes, yes, and
what?
it's disempowering,
It is.
very disempowering, and dangerous. Excuse me, as I said. Oh man, I keep releasing while we're talking. And it's also based on victimhood, I feel. Because you're like basically put in a place of weakness, and
Mm-hmm.
you are the poor person, poor soul that is so empathic toward other people, that you are basically self-sacrificing yourself for the sake of others.
Right.
So
Right.
this was like, really, I was like, no, this is no, 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 absolutely. I need to do something about this, because and it was a moment where I was hearing many people telling me I'm an empath, and many people telling me I absorb other people's energy and I feel uncomfortable when I go in public spaces. I feel drained. I don't feel good after that. So I realized that it was the moment for me to really speak up and tell people, no, you can be a very extremely sensitive person and still go to public places.
Right.
And mostly being a healer doesn't mean that you are destroying your energy, and doesn't mean that you're letting people drain you out, and you have to absorb. And being an empath, which this is another completely conversation, but it doesn't mean that you absorb other people, and you have to absorb other people energy. So from this came really this program that I call a training for healers, but it's really a training for space holders, because I realized how much misinformation there is around being a healer.
A lot is
Yes, and this is harmful for the person who claims to be a healer, because I see too many healers that they have their field charged with other people's energy because they don't clean properly themselves. And I'm talking not only about energy healers, but I'm talking also about masseurs, people who do body work, yoga
that
teachers.
exactly that are frequently putting hands on or interacting with others.
Yes,
Yeah.
and also space holders of different kind, also teachers, also like
Yeah.
it's.
Yeah.
I think also teachers are light workers sometimes. Many
Yes.
of
Yes.
they're they're really literally educating kids and
Yes.
people,
Yes.
and they are constantly among people, no, and none of them. And I see like these very charged energies, these dense energies, and then you see them drained, you see them exhausted, and I asked me, I don't understand why I'm so exhausted. And this is a I think especially in this moment, it's really important, because we are growing. People are getting
Mm-hmm.
more sensitive, and many people are awakening to their multidimensional gifts, and
Absolutely.
and they don't know how to manage them,
Right.
and this can make them think that they are also going crazy.
Yes.
So I thought it was really the moment for me to really put all my knowledge available
Mm-hmm.
for these people. And not to brag, my knowledge is not from this lifetime only, but is from many
Exactly.
other lifetimes.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I have discovered it through the years, that what I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing here is just remembering what I'm able to do,
What you've been doing before
what I've been doing for really
a
lifetime.
long time. Exactly.
So I decided to put everything there on the table for a
Mm-hmm.
person who wants to really learn how to be a healer in their own power and stand in their power as healers. So it's a 3 months training, where we are working on two lanes. One lane is their own healing, which is extremely important. Because
Exactly.
because you cannot think to be a healer without healing yourself.
And you've not done a lick of work on yourself, which, so again, that's also another thing that a lot of people are just out here just, and this is what I do, and they've not done any work.
So we need to do the work. And not only because for an integrity standpoint, but
Exactly.
also because the more you heal yourself, the more light you are able to hold.
That there.
The more you raise your frequency and the more light you're able to channel, because what we are as healers is just, we are light. We are channels for light, for the light.
For
We are
light.
for miracles. We are channels for divine downloads, for anything that wants to come into this earth through
Yes.
us. So as channel, you need to be clean.
Yes.
And this may sound a bit absolutistic, but this is also my experience. I have been to healings where the channel, the healer, was not clean, and I came out of them, I was like dirty.
Yeah. Yes.
I had myself and my friends, I remember one day. So it's really, really important. And the other lane is how, like, tools. And I'm not talking about techniques, because I'm not here to teach you a technique. I'm here to teach you tools. Because what
Exactly.
you do is finding out how you work, finding out how you function, and the ways that you can put it available to serve other people.
Right.
So it's really tailored on each person. So what I say is that a lot of people go and do the course, they choose the technique, and then the technique that it resonates with them for sure.
With them. Exactly.
First they choose the technique, and then they start evolving. What if we do it the other way around? We start from you, how you function, what are the skills you have, what are the gifts you have, and then work
Right.
around them, and then channel them in a way that you can put them in service to other people. So it's two lanes. And this other lane is also to manage your energy system. I feel sometimes people are weak, and me too, sometimes I get weak, and we're not grounded. You need to ground properly your field. You need to stabilize your field before doing any energy work. You need to really ground, and you need to really be stable. Otherwise,
Yes.
it's a protection for you. It's like how are you going to function after the healing you have done, after you have channeled incredible amount of light and you have digged into another person's darkness and density and trauma. What about your energy field?
Yeah.
It's like, I feel it's a like super big JD training.
Yes.
Like Star Wars, like Hogwarts, like training to see really what kind of magician you are. Are you someone who works with elementals? Are you someone who talks with fae? Are you a witch? Are you a wizard? What kind of, are you a time traveler? Are you talking and connecting with star people? Are you connecting with earth people? Are you a light worker, dark worker? What kind of being are you? Where are you coming from? What are
Where are you coming?
And then blossoming in that. And it's like 3 months of like intense work. We meet twice a week, which is a lot. But one lesson is a full-on multidimensional healing session, and we're going to work on the body, like on the body of a person, on the energy field of the person, unblocking, deprogramming, releasing, cleansing, processing, doing all the beautiful hard work together.
Right.
And then the other meeting, the second meeting of a week, is integration, teachings of tools, and also how to, as I said, manage your field and everything that needs to be talked about. It's like 3 months. It's a very intense training. Yeah. But at the end of the 3 months, you will be really aware.
You're right.
That will be, like of how ready you are, how your energy works, and your sensitivity will grow for sure. I promise that. And how to move, what to do, and new streams of energy. You will discover new skills. They will discover new skills. Yeah, new magical powers, new multidimensional powers. It's like the transformation is really deep. Yeah. So I'm really happy about this new baby that I have
Yes.
presented.
Yes. I love that. And you had mentioned when you were talking about the experiencing kind of like sometimes the person who was doing the healing session like wasn't clean, and then you then also felt like dirty afterwards. There's also I mentioned this. I don't remember if I mentioned it when I was making my thing, or if this was a solo podcast that I did, but I mentioned this very example, except I put it on like the oftentimes people say, that people who are in the kind of the organized religion communities will say like, oh, I have to go to the pastor in order for the pastor to put hands on me and pray for me and heal me and do this thing. And it's like, it's the same thing. If they're not like a clear channel and clean vessel, not everybody needs to put hands on you. Why can't you pray for you? You can access that as well, but it's a thing. I've had that experience where when I was still a part of the organized religion Christian household, when my family was taking me to church, and one time I remember this pastor put his hands on me and I felt immediately like sick, drained, heavy, and depressed immediately. And I was like 12 years old. Ever since then, I was like, there's something up. Something's up,
Yeah.
with that. I never let anybody from the church put their hands on me again after that. And I mean, in general, like I've been very, very leery about just anybody trying to, you know what I mean? But it is there is really truth to that. And if a healer isn't a clear channel, they don't need to be trying to heal and clean other people. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But anyways, that's what I had. I wrote the note there to talk about that because you mentioned it and I was like, that's a true statement.
Yeah, yeah. I feel
Yeah.
you're right. I mean, especially organized religions, I don't like, I've never felt like their energy is not the best, I have to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Since
generalize or, but still have to
yeah,
find someone from
that's
from a church that has a nice energy, and I would allow them to touch me or to do something on me, honestly. I have to be really honest. But this is really my own very personal opinion.
but I've had that as well. But I mean, I think that's for me, that's everybody. There can be like bad seeds from anyone. Do you know what I mean? But in general, I have it's been interesting, of like trying to have anyone from organized religion be acceptable, of being able to put their
No, 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 no.
yeah.
No, no. I should be the one putting my hand on them, honestly. I have to be honest.
Let me help you. It's so funny.
To be politically correct, but it's not really my personality, honestly.
It's just it's so funny because you were like,
My face speaks too much. I'm going I'm going to be criticized for this. My account was already suspended on Facebook because someone said I was helping the devil. I will be cancelled again.
she said I will be canceled. Like, that's funny to me. That was funny. All right, let me let you go. Let's wrap this up. I want to tell you thank you so much again for coming and sharing your energy, your expertise, your knowledge, your wisdom, and your experiences with us, and all the things. Love you, and I'm super glad that we were able to meet the first time and have this
Yes,
continued relationship.
I love that, really. I'm open to do more, really. I love talking to you.
Same.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all, and we'll see you on the next one.